use honky anymore?
Crackle.
Let's bring back honky. Would you like to welcome the people today, Buck?
Welcome, people, to the Rowdy.com Big 3 NASCAR Racing video. I am Buzz Cutler. He's Buck Fever.
You're not Buzz Cutler.
Wait a minute, who am I?
You're Bass
Nobody.
Masters.
No, I'm Bass. He's Buck, and that guy's Buzz.
I'm Tweedledee.
And there are real names too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Issue number 1 today is the rumored changes to the nationwide series. What we're hearing, and this isn't official, is that they're going to let the Cup drivers compete. They're just not going to qualify for driver points, which means that they won't be in the running for the championship.
So some guy who runs 15th every week is going to win the title? Is that what you're saying?
And it will be oh so exciting.
It's so obvious to me that NASCAR really has given up on the Nationwide Series. They have
No, they have not.
They have no faith in the Nationwide Series. They have to have Cup guys in it.
Look.
Come on.
They know. I don't agree with you. I do not agree with you. They know that the Nationwide Series needs its own identity. They know that they need to bring younger guys up in the Nationwide Series and have those guys be named drivers. Here's the problem. When do you bite the bullet? Because that's what it is. Once you kick those Cup guys out, when you really kick them out and say, oh, guys, you can only race 4 or 5 races here, you're taking a lot of star power out of that series. You're taking some sponsorship dollars probably out of that series. Is this the time you want to do that? This is a baby step, and it is silly in a way to have a Cup guy run the full season, dominate things, and not win the championship. But maybe by making it so they can't win the championship, you kind of start easing those guys out of the series. I just don't think they can bite the bullet right now in this economic time.
Come on, these guys.
If you were NASCAR, you wouldn't do it.
These Cup guys don't race in the series because they want to win a nationwide championship, and by taking points away doesn't mean they're not going to run in it. They happen to be at the track, they happen to have a sponsor, and they happen to make lots of money.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying I don't think that's really the net effect. I think it's a baby
Landon
step.
Castle runs 15th and wins a championship?
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Worthless.
That's a potential problem. I just think that they can't bite the bullet right now and truly kick these guys out of the series and give it its own identity right now, but they're taking steps in that direction. Okay. Look at the car. Look at this change. I know they're baby steps. I know nothing's fast enough for you, Buck Beaver, but I understand where they're coming from on this.
Let's be fast in moving on to issue number 2. First, I want to hear from Richard Childress.
Well, I said at our luncheon, I said somebody's got to beat Jimmy this year, and it might as well be RCR. And
Jeff Owens over at SceneDaily.com wrote a blog saying, hey, if Kevin Harvick wins a championship, maybe that will be a connection, a salve, if you will, to all the Dale Earnhardt Sr. fans.
I think the Dale Earnhardt Sr. fans might be happier if Dale Earnhardt Jr. won a title. When I was a kid, Cutler, I was a Washington Senators fan. Okay, and this was the second incarnation thereof, and I used to go to games and sit at the upper deck at RFK, and then in '72, I think it was, they left. They went to Texas, and I was pretty young at the time, and I said to my dad, so are we going to root for the Texas Rangers now? He's like, no, they're the Texas Rangers. Kevin Harvick's not Dale Earnhardt. Now, there is a connection there, and that connection is Richard Childress. Richard Childress has won 6 championships, and they've all been with Dale Earnhardt. He's never won one without Dale Earnhardt. So I think for him to win a championship with Kevin Harvick would be a huge step, and you got to believe Dale Earnhardt fans are kind of Richard Childress fans too. So I think that's where the connection is.
That is the connection. I do not see the connection with Kevin Harvick, especially since Kevin Harvick has tried to distance himself from Dale Earnhardt, saying that he does not want to be known as the guy that's carrying the torch for Dale Earnhardt. So
and Dale Earnhardt, you root for the man, in this sport. It's a team sport, but you root for the man. And you might be a Kevin Harvick fan if you're a Dale Earnhardt fan, but you just as well might not.
This is more about Childress versus Hendrick in my mind.
All right, let's move on to issue number 3. Take a listen, won't you?
And I believe that I'm as good as anybody out there and can win 4 championships just like Jimmy Johnson has done.
As you can tell by the dulcet tones of his Australian dialect, that is Marcus Ambrose saying, yeah, I can win 4 championships. Well, can he?
No. And the reason why isn't because he doesn't have the talent, okay? The reason why is because that's just such a...
It ain't going to happen, man.
I could pick a dozen, I could pick almost anybody and say they're not going to win 4 championships. So I'm not really saying that to do. What I love about this guy, I've said it before, he's so super competitive. He's not afraid to put himself out there. You know what reminds me a little bit? He said, it's kind of like Joe Gibbs coming back to the Redskins where he said, I'm doing this without a net. And then he gave that crazy cackle that he does sometimes. It's like Dale Earnhardt going to Hendrick Motorsports saying, well, if I don't succeed over here, there's no one to blame but me. Now, Marcus Ambrose hasn't gone to a Hendrick Motorsports, But he said, look, I wanted to see what I could do. I believe in myself. I believe I'm a championship caliber driver. I believe I have the talent. That's what he was trying to say. I don't think he was trying to be cocky. Do I think he's going to win 4 titles? No. Do I think he's going to win a race in the Cup Series? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to be on an oval? Well,
not anytime soon. I'm
not sure about that.
I think Marcus Ambrose believes he's just as good as the next guy, and that's very, very important.
You got to believe that.
Carl Edwards once said, I'm the best race car driver in the room. And that's all Marcus Ambrose is saying. Is, hey, I'm just as good as Jimmy. If Jimmy can do it, I can do it. I don't think it's cocky. I think
agree with you.
Part of the fabric of what makes these people what they are. They have to believe they can do it in order to get it done.
If you don't believe that, I think you're going to get washed out pretty quick.
I don't see him equaling what Jimmy Johnson has done, but I don't see anybody equaling what Jimmy Johnson has done, including Richard Petty.
Including Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
That's been your Rider.com Big 3 for today. For Buck Beaver, I think that's you. Bassmasters, I think that's me. And Buzz Cutler. Do join us at Rowdy. Remember, you can comment on this video. So if you think Marcus is crazy, or if you think Kevin Harvick does represent Dale Earnhardt, please join us over at Rowdy and leave us your comment and tell us that. Yeah. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, we have a daily podcast too. We're working on that later today, and that'll be up around 1 o'clock. So we hope you'll join us for all that.
Please do.
Until next time, farewell.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.